Well, for a look now across the local market, earlier I spoke to Stephen Pill from RBS Morgans. Well, Stephen Pill, with Wall Street suffering its worst day in 2 months, I guess the Australian market was never going to get off scot-free, was it?
It certainly was a very poor lead out of Wall Street overnight, Tiki, and the market here performed pretty terribly in the end. The banks in particular took a bit of a hammering today. Probably the standout there was Macquarie. That was down 5% at one stage and finished not far from that. All the major banks were down, but it was pretty wholesale. BHP and Rio were also hit fairly hard today. There was some pretty ordinary data that came out of the US last night. I think the big thing over there at the moment is the jobs. Those numbers have been pretty poor for a couple of months now. And I just don't wonder if the market's starting to really focus on that on top of the concerns about the debt ceiling.
And of course the Australian dollar remains pretty high. How has that affected stocks across the board?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's probably taken the market a little bit by surprise exactly how high the Aussie dollar has pushed. That's been really driven by the CPI data that came out earlier this week and spooked the market in terms of bringing the possibility of a rate rise back onto the agenda. It's going to certainly be a very interesting decision by the Reserve Bank next month when they make that decision on which way they're leaning.
Right, now to a couple of stocks. We knew it was coming, but what did the market make of Origin Energy's the final decision on its joint venture LNG project in Queensland?
Yeah, it was a bit of a muted response, to be honest. I was a little bit surprised that perhaps Origin might have been a little bit supported, but I think it was a casualty of the general market sentiment today. It's the first phase that they're focusing on. I think that's about $4 billion worth of investment on the first train and infrastructure for the second train, and then they're going to rise to $20 billion in total for the second train. So it's, certainly a big announcement for them and very positive for the industry, I would have thought.
And now this new is always rebranding exercise by David Jones. 60 new brands, I understand, but doesn't seem to have caught on with the market yet.
Yeah, it was an interesting announcement from David Jones today. As you stated, they've announced 60 new brands, both Australian and overseas. I think some headline overseas brands like Victoria Beckham was one that I noticed there. Apparently Miranda Kerr has arrived in Australia and was out at a shopping centre today as part of the campaign to launch this campaign. It seems like they're really trying to drive some consumer focus, which back on the store. I mean, it was only recently that they downgraded profit guidance by 20%. I wonder if this campaign is looking to kind of to focus the consumer on whether the brand image of David Jones is a little bit outdated and whether they're not trying to freshen up the image.
I gather white is the new black to come, fashion-wise, but let's hope it's black for the reporting season. Stephen Pill, thank you very much for joining us.
Great, thanks very much, Tiki.
To the other major movers on the local share market now, and Aquila Resources was down 7%, even though it said normal shipments of coal will resume from Isaac Plains mine after it reached an agreement over a dispute with partner Vale. The Commonwealth Property Office Fund made a gain after it sold the George Street office tower in Sydney's CBD for $395 million, the largest office sale of the year. Gold producer OceanaGold lost ground despite announcing it was on track to deliver solid growth in its second quarter, while Flight Centre was up despite domestic airline woes. Turning to currency markets, the dollar stayed just above $1.10 US cents. It's up a little against the euro and the pound, but slightly lower against the yen. Onto the commodity markets now, and in New York, oil is moving up towards $98 US a barrel. Gold continues its rise, up another $5 US, and copper edged higher.